Chronicles Abroad. I am Francis.
And I'm Nubia.
And we have a special treat for you guys. We have returned with Cepee from She Hit Refresh. We first interviewed Cepee back almost 2 years ago. And we're just catching up with her to see what she's been up to. We've noticed she's been doing some amazing, beautiful things. And we want to see what's going on. Right now, Cepee is on lockdown in Madrid. So we definitely touch base to see how she's doing with all this global epidemic. But thank you, Cepee, for coming back and chatting with us and giving us an update.
Yes. Hello, ladies. Oh, what a pleasure to be back on the podcast. It's so great to talk to you guys. Yes.
Thanks.
This is really cool to, we're in touch behind the scenes, but to be on a podcast together 2 years later is just incredible. Thanks for having me on again.
It is remarkable to see all of our growth over the last 2 years. And for our listeners who are not familiar with She Hit Refresh is pretty much a community for women over the age of 30 who want to break free from their normal mundane lives, and do something different. And we have watched your growth over these last 2 years. And I must say, I'm very proud of all the things that you have done and all the things that you will continue to do to grow this community, to help women be better at all aspects of their life, if you think about it, because She Hit Refresh really does touch a lot because it builds relationships. It connects people with businesses and other entrepreneurs and business owners. And also it helps them build confidence and empowers them to do the things that they want to do with their passion and their purpose. So She Hit Refresh has always been in alignment with Chronicles Abroad, and we just love you for it. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
She's changing lives over there.
Thank you so much. It is, y'all too. I mean, we were just mentioning this right before we hopped on, that it's been so great to see each other's growth. I think we kind of met around the same time, like early in our projects here, and just to see all of us rise and the transformations that we've had and the impact that we're having on people around the world it's just been incredible. So thank you so much for seeing me and recognizing my work right back at you guys at Chronicles Abroad.
Thank you. So Cepee, give us a little rundown. What's been going on over the last 2 years? And then we'll jump into the pandemic, because I think a lot of people want a reprieve from that right now, but I'm curious to know what's going on in Spain. So tell me what's been going on with She Hit Refresh over the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, so I think last time we talked, our membership online was probably in the hundreds, I'm assuming. I can't remember exactly, but now we're at about 5,500 women in our members around the world. So it's been incredible growth online. And with that, we've just had demand for even more resources. So we started out as a Facebook community, we've grown into a blog. We have a podcast as well. So thanks for paving the way there. And we started doing in-person events because people wanted to meet. So I have meetups here in Madrid and some in Texas when I'm there. But our big project was the retreat that we did for the first time last year. And we just got back from our second one a week ago. And so that has just been a really pivotal moment for us to see that people really believe in our message and trust us. I mean, before the retreat, we had never sold anything for the community. So to put that out as our first product and have women come on board and to see the changes that they've made through the retreat has just been incredible. And so we're just using all that momentum to hopefully work on some more projects and just try to reach more women and help them refresh their lives.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah, and this is your second retreat, and thankfully you're able to sneak it in before all this chaos happened. How did the retreat go? What were some of the highlights of it?
So and I have some interesting stories from the retreat, since it happened kind of on the cusp of these changes with what's going on in the world. So the retreat was amazing. We had a group of women. We had a few Americans, a Canadian, and our life coach that came was from the UK come. And it was just a beautiful week, ages ranging from, I think I was the youngest at 39, all the way up to early 60s. So it was just a beautiful age range of women with wisdom and different journeys. And so we spend the week. What the retreat is for women to gain clarity on the refresh that they want to make in their lives. So these are women who know they want to make a change, but maybe aren't sure exactly what they want to do. And maybe they just need a little catalyst to make that change, right? And so the week we had, during the week we travel through Morocco, but we also have workshops that help them gain clarity. And so we have the life coach that gives one, and then I gave 3 other workshops. And in those workshops, there were breakthroughs, there were tears, there were bonding, aha moments. And it was just powerful to witness, to be a part of people's transformation, which was incredible. But I will say, because this was all happening when we left to Morocco, things were quite sane in the world, I'll say. But on our next to last day is when the US announced its travel ban. And so that kind of obviously scared the Americans that were on our retreat. And so 2 of the women left early. And while some of them still stayed because they had travels after the retreat, those women that stayed have been having trouble leaving Morocco. But thankfully, I just found out today, one was able to catch a flight to Canada yesterday, and one is actually on a plane that the U.S. sent over to Morocco on a flight back to the U.S. today. So while our retreat was great, we had a beautiful time and made some amazing memories. Post-retreat, I've just been worried about the women who got stuck there, but it looks like people are making their way back home.
Wow. So let's kind of go back a little bit, right?
Yep.
So you moved to Madrid back in 2015, if I believe correctly, right? With dreams of snagging a remote job and just kind of living a life of freedom. So tell us about your own growth after hitting refresh.
Yeah, that's true. I moved here to Madrid, Spain from Austin, Texas. I'm originally from Houston, but I had been living in Austin. So I moved here at 35 years old, and I came here on a program to teach English in Spain because that was really the only way I could get my foot in the door. So it's a government program. And really, I didn't really want to do that because it kind of felt, for me personally, a step backwards because I had done that program when I was 26 and I'm not an English teacher. But I thought, I'll come with that, get my foot in the door, and then hustle my way out. And through that hustling, I ended up getting a job with a Spanish startup on their social media marketing team. I had never worked in social media before, but that prompted my own refresh kind of in my career where I gained the skills for social media. Hated that job because I'm not built for a 9 to 5 and working in an office. And that's when I started thinking that remote work might be a possibility for me with my new skills. And I started looking for remote work. And so since 2017, that's been my journey, just self-taught social media marketer. And there just are a lot of opportunities out there and have been able to make remote work a dream come true.
Well, I love the fact that you mentioned how you just had to do what you started from here, because I think that a lot of people who have this misconception that living abroad is like this wonderful, glorious thing, which it really is, but it is a hustle. It starts with a hustle, I was just talking to a girlfriend yesterday who started her journey a few months ago, and I said, so tell me the truth. How is it? And she was like, it's nothing that I thought it would be, but it's everything that I wanted it to be. You get what I mean? Yeah. So she was like, even through the ebbs and flows, she was like, I wouldn't change a thing. She was like, but it's much harder than I thought. So a lot of us, teaching English is an easy way to still make money and live in that country. And people don't understand that, but it doesn't mean that has to be your end all be all. Exactly what you did was amazing. You found an opportunity and you got the skills that you needed to be able to do something else. And then look at you today. So can you give our listeners a little bit about how you took those skills and created She Hit Refresh?
Yes, thank you. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with what you said. It is a hustle, unless if you're moving abroad to retire. It's a hustle because you're trying to pave a new path in a new country. And what I tell my refreshers that hitting refresh isn't going to be the solution. Once you move to that new country or quit your job and start traveling, there's a whole other, there are just other challenges that you're going to face along the way that you really can't foresee until you're in it. And so for me, when I started building those social media skills, at the same time, I just started getting interested in expressing myself. When you move abroad, I think for a lot of us, we find ourselves with more time because we're not in the rat race in the US. And so I had time to delve into my interests. And so I just started a blog to write about vegetarian food. And then I wanted to meet other bloggers, and there wasn't a community for bloggers. So I started a community. These are things I had never done. I wasn't a blogger. I had never started a community. So I just started doing new things and picking up more skills along the way. And so when it came the time when I wanted to connect with women my age who wanted to do something different in life. I already had the skills to create that. I knew how to create a community. I already knew how to work with social media so that I could reach more women and tell my story through the writing that I had done. I had just become a better writer. And so all of those skills just kind of came together and allowed me to start She Hit Refresh and start it feeling confident that I could do something with it. So it was a journey. I always tell people, like, when they ask me like, "Oh my God, how was She Hit Refresh something you always thought of?" No, it wasn't. It just kind of came to me along my own journey of reinvention. Like, I had to go through all of these steps for it to become an idea and for me to actually take action on that idea.
Yeah, and I want to hit home on that message because often we hear people say to us, I don't have any skill sets, and they feel like they need to rack up all these so quote unquote skills. But it's like you have all these things, it's just giving yourself the space to be able to recognize it. And I think that's what moving abroad does for a lot of people is it creates that space for those insights to come, for you to really get to know yourself, like you said, your interests, what you like, what you don't like. And it gives you an open heart and open mind to try things out, because when you are living your regular life, you don't have the opportunity. I mean, it's there if you want to pursue it, but you don't have the opportunity to kind of like dab into other things, like dab into interest. I remember before I moved abroad, I mean, I was just pretty much doing my trade and going from, point A to point B. But the minute that I moved abroad, I could explore all these things. Yes. And then create all these things that I didn't know I could create until I gave that space. And I think that's what I want to really harp on, is that space.
Yes, I agree. And I recently gave a talk here in Madrid about, the process of reinventing yourself. And I really think that moving abroad allows you to play with your identity, which I think is really important when you're in this transitional phase, is that when you're stuck in your comfort zone and your normal life, like, you see yourself as someone who only does this. Like, I'm the kind of person, like, I don't write. How am I going to start a blog? I'm not a blogger. And so you have this really like black and white view of yourself. But I think when you move abroad, because you're trying to navigate a new environment and you're just open to experience new things, I think you're open to also exploring who you are, which I think can lead to a new path for yourself. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You can give yourself the space, as you said, to play, to start figuring out who you are and maybe what interests that you have that are just kind of dormant underneath.
So I'm curious, and thank you for that. Last year when we had a conversation, you said last year your goal was like to invest in yourself. So you went on conferences and really focused on just your personal and professional growth. What is this year? What is the thing that you're tackling this year to elevate yourself?
Yes. So my one word intention for this year is nurture. And so by that, as we all have been hustling here on our projects, the last year and a half, I spent a lot of time working and not so much on me. So this year, nurturing, my mind and my body. So getting more physically active and also making space for new interests or working on other things that aren't related to my business. Nurturing relationships. So a lot of that's friendships, making time for people now, where the last year I was like, no, I got to work. I'm not going out. Don't call me. Don't talk to me. This year, now I am making space for the people who are important to me. And also, well, Corona has put the kibosh on that. But I was open to dating this year. So
that reminds me of that meme that says, oh, that online dating thing. I think it said something about how like, oh, now I'm ready to date and I can't date.
It was like the universe, how funny are you? Something like that.
Yeah.
I see that.
A few people have said that to me.
But let's look at the brighter side of Corona, right? This is a great segue to that, because there's a bright side to Corona, and I keep trying to focus on the bright side. A lot of us have never really sat still, right? Now you're forced to sit still. A lot of companies are giving free resources, whether it's like 30 days free, 60 days free, 90 days free. It's the best time to sit down and focus on your passion and let that passion now grow. So for people who don't think they have skills, this is the time to go online and create, and take those courses and learn something new so that you can put it forward later on. Because I think a lot of us are like, oh, shoot, like, I wasn't prepared for this. None of us were prepared for this. But, this is the time when you actually want to put that stuff in place.
I agree. You got to find the silver lining. And what we have now is maybe an abundance of time or just more time than we had. So it's not that you have to be productive with every moment, but you can definitely use it to work on the things that maybe you've always dreamed of doing. And like you said, there's so many free resources out there right now. Like it's just a great way to make the most of the time here. And also just feed yourself. I think it's really important as we're all kind of stressed and in a space of uncertainty to just keep our headspace in a positive place. And, being creative and working on things that you're passionate about, I think can help you focus on just being positive and not focusing on the negative.
Exactly. So, all right. Now, you have literally sat and you did a conversation. Was it a talk with Google?
Yeah, I did a talk at a Google campus here. Yeah, we had an event and I gave a talk there recently. Last month.
Now, I mean, this is amazing to me because, to hear you say that you didn't have these skills before, and then a year later, you're talking on a Google platform. This is what I want our listeners to hear, is to understand that there is so many opportunity and possibilities out there. When you think that you don't have the skills or the background, just keep pushing forward. You don't know what you have until you begin. When we started this podcast, we didn't think we would be doing this 3 years later and have, over 400,000 downloads and you know what I'm saying? And listeners from all over the world. Never once did I can't lie. I wouldn't say that. I knew that we were going to get here, but you know what I mean? At the beginning, we weren't podcasters. This was something I didn't even know. I knew what a podcast was, but I didn't listen to podcasts. Shush, Frances is looking at me like I'm crazy because she was hitting me like, listen to this. And I'm like, if you hit me with another damn link to listen to, you know what I mean? So podcasting wasn't my passion. It wasn't my thing, but I took the time out to learn a little bit about it. And then it got so we were in this analysis paralysis phase where we kept trying to learn more and more and more and more. And then it was finally like, you know what, F it. Let's just record. And that's where it starts. If I would love to go back and listen to some of our old recordings.
No, I'm good. I ain't never going back. But I think one of the key things that we want to express to our listeners is one of the key qualities to have is flexibility. That's what's gonna determine how whatever your definition of success is. That's what's gonna determine it, is how flexible you are when times aren't certain and when things aren't going your way or when they are going your way. Be flexible. I get distracted easily. You just put things up on the screen. Come on now. I did hear it, but it's okay. Let's just keep it going.
Okay, I'm gonna hop in
all the time. Please hop in.
I'm sitting here like
I be in a group stuff. You know what I mean? And then someone will pop up. I'm just like.
Because I was still debating on whether or not to open the door and be like, you know what I mean?
I didn't hear anybody. I saw you looking, but I didn't hear anything.
I heard a little something, but it's okay.
They're at the door just talking. I'm like, dude, it's like.
Yeah, can you sing?
It's a co-working space. People are working. I'm on the phone. You see, I'm in the booth. I'm literally in the booth. So it's like, why are you guys at the door talking? But I don't want to be the one to be like.
Excuse me.
No, you have to. We're recording. Excuse me.
I know. That's why I was asking if you guys heard. So if I'm a little bit quiet longer, then just Frances step in and I'll.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, wait, you froze? Don't laugh.
I have to laugh. You don't understand. This is like a weekly. She's always having technical difficulties. It's insane.
Oh, God. You crack me up, Frances.
Let me just text her, see what's going on.
Yeah, take your time. I'm going to check my messages.
You're frozen. Is she coming back?
Oh no.
Okay.
We got it.
That was the universe. The universe was like, girl, just keep going. Keep pushing.
Keep going.
All right. I'll
Okay.
let you lead for him while they talk.
All right. So you're saying this year is all about nurturing your friendships, nurturing your relationships.
Sorry, you had just said about being flexible.
Yes, thank you. How are we ever going to really get through this? But between her laugh that makes me laugh, and then between you getting stuck.
But the great thing about podcasting is, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Our whole show is about just having like casual conversations, right? So that's the great things. The great thing about this whole laughter. Are you guys frozen? Okay, because Frances looks like she's just like.
Because I'm waiting for you to say. The funny thing about it is.
But I wasn't gonna say that.
Now
Ms.
let's
Frances.
move to the great thing about.
Listen, I have fillers. What's your filler? Cepee, what's your filler?
Filler word or filler what?
Yeah, filler word. You know how a lot of people said right?
Yeah.
One thing that's great about it is, since we've been podcasting, I do not say
I love that.
I don't say no.
I just added a whole bunch of ums in the last episode.
There's a debate going
you
on.
Say no.
You see how she is? I mean, we all say but I'm talking about to that extent. Like You ever interviewed somebody who you're just like, oh my God, the editing on this shit is gonna be faster.
I have.
This is a great segue into your podcast. Yes, let's talk about that.
Oh, the podcast? Okay.
Yeah, but I asked Cepee a question. What's your filler? What's
my
the thing
filler?
You say a lot?
It's also I've actually been listening to myself a lot lately and trying to cut it out. Like when I was preparing for the talk at Google Campus, I really was recording myself listening and trying to make sure I wasn't saying that, because I do hear that I say it a lot. Of course, when we edit ourselves on the podcast and we listen to the podcast, we never hear ourselves say it. But in the raw form, I say it a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
And how's Toastmasters going for you, Frances? That's another resource that's free usually in people's countries and different regions, is Toastmasters, which is a great way to help you with speaking skills.
It's going great. I think what the best part about it is the feedback, which has been very helpful. I kind of just dove in and just signed up for a bunch of roles, part of the whole program, and I didn't even know what the roles were, and I signed up to be a Toastmaster, which is basically you host the entire meeting. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. So that was a little strange because I had to do like a 3-minute talk, and I was like, but it's been really good because of the feedback that I've been receiving, and which helps with your confidence. And if you feel a little bit more confident, it'll allow you to get up in front of people and feel a lot better. So I highly recommend it if people are really shy about being on stage.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's great. I'm in Toastmasters too. I just signed up in Madrid 2 months ago. So that's great to hear. I highly recommend it too for people.
Yeah, they have a Toastmasters here in Mexico, but they have a English chapter that only meets like once a week or something like that. So I might be looking into that. But like you said, Frances, this is a great segue to jump into your podcast. So She Hit Refresh is now also available on podcast. How's that going, Miss Podcaster? Because when we spoke to you 2 years ago, you didn't have a podcast, but you were thinking about it. I remember you talked to us about it, and we talked to you a little bit about it, and now here you are. Tell us about that.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I had to get out of my own analysis paralysis about that. I mean, I'm someone who really moves quickly, but for some reason with the podcast, it just felt so overwhelming trying to figure out the technical and the this and the that. And so I sat on the idea for a while. And then I think it was last January, I was like, screw it. What's the easiest way? I'm just going to do it, and I can pivot later. So I'm so glad that I started, because we've done 2 seasons. I think we have 27 episodes, and it's been just so fun to get to know people virtually and talk to them. I mean, you guys were guests on there. So it's just amazing to just connect with people and also let people share their stories, because stories is where it's at, especially with our community. Women want to hear stories of women who have hit refresh. And so just to be able to have that outlet for them, it's been great. And so I would say the first season was kind of just, picking people who had a great story and sharing that. The second season was really honing in on people in our community. And in the third season, I want to be a bit strategic about that, but I haven't figured out what that is yet. But, it's just a journey of learning as we go. And I've been loving it.
Speaking of stories, congratulations for sure. And we found ourselves doing the same thing, because when we first started, we're like, oh, everybody. Now we're like,
wait, tell her about how our first season went on for like almost a year.
We had like 50-something episodes.
I think we were like 56 episodes in before we realized that we never took a break.
Yeah, got to take a break.
And we were like, oh shit, wait a minute. I think we were supposed to.
I ain't doing this no more.
That is a lot of work.
That's why our episodes, we're at like 156 episodes coming up or whatever.
That's just on Chronicles Abroad, not even the others.
Correct. And that's not including Monday Message. That's not including our global grind. So we just kept recording and just putting out. And then we were getting burnt. And we were like, wait a minute. We haven't taken a break. Oh, snap. So that's the great thing, though, is that you learn as you go. But as you learn, you really do perfect it. You get better and you get better. You see the things you've done wrong, but you realize that people still enjoy it. So you just get better at it. You know, it's not really like, oh, no, I can't do this. It's like, oh, shit, I can do this. And that's what I love about it, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love for you to just share like one of your most memorable stories from one of your guests on the show that kind of like still remember. No, not really. I mean, I barely know that she's here, but.
Yes, thank you. Let's see. One of my favorite, I think we have, so in the second season is where I shared stories from the women from our community. And so we had, women of all different ages from their 30s to their 60s. And I would say one of my favorite ones was with a woman, Cindy Sheehan. Am I saying it right, Cindy? I hope so, if you're listening. And she is incredible. We haven't met in person, but I really hope to meet her one day. I believe Cindy is in her early 50s, but her story is incredible because, she is a mother who, was divorced and just kind of was like, you know what, I'm going to travel the world, and picked up and went to travel the world she has been on the road, I don't know, a few years now. And just her whole journey and the joy that she has with embracing this new chapter of her life has just been incredible. And that episode really resonated with a lot of women because I think, when you've had a certain life for a certain way, especially if you were, if your roles or your identity was defined as a mother and a wife and someone who works in an office and that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, all those things are kind of, pulled out from under you. Just the way that she's been able to embrace that new life and really lean into it and just thrive in it has been incredible.
That's interesting because Cindy's on our list to interview, but she was like traveling and then we couldn't do it then. So hopefully things will get in alignment. We'll get her on the show because she's really cool. Had a couple conversations.
Right? Yeah, that's great. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, the global connection is real. You know what I mean? Like to have been able to meet people working and living in Africa, working and living in Sweden, working and living in Australia, New Zealand. I mean, we've talked to people literally across this globe on all continents. We need to find somebody in Antarctica. That would be nice. I wonder if there's Wi-Fi. That would be live from the Antarctic cruise. Let us, that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, to talk to people from all around the world and building those global connections is amazing. Podcasting has done that for all of us. And
it's not just podcasting. It's just like you just create the life that you want to live.
Well,
you know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Podcasting was our median. Right? I mean, let's be honest. It was the way that we were able to build these global connections with our audience and with our listeners and our interviewees was through podcasting. And I think if we weren't doing it necessarily, we wouldn't have the same effect. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, with all the mediums that we use, for us, it started with Facebook groups and community. That's how I was starting to connect with people, especially peers in the space. Learning about people. But I feel like with all the mediums that we're in, through podcasting, I guess, and Facebook are our two main ones. Instagram, I don't use as much, but just the connections that we've made of people around the world is just something that wouldn't be possible if we weren't doing online businesses like this.
That's true. And you know what? Facebook community groups is so much work. Oh my gosh. That's a full-time job by itself.
It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But, for me, I think that is a skill or an interest that I uncovered in the space that I had in Spain, is that kind of hosting community, that kind of stuff is something that I feel like it was just something in me that I realized I really enjoyed. And so She Hit Refresh is not my main source of income, but I spend so much time in there. Hopefully one day it will, and all of this hard work will pay off. But I love doing it anyways, I am in the group because, I love to be connected to the community and help these women improve their lives. It is a lot of work, but it's really rewarding as well.
Yeah, I love it. We love it. When you love what you're doing, the hours kind of just go by. And then when you're faced with do I have to do this again? But then you realize there's a whole community that depends on you, that's looking to you for all this content and connection. And so that becomes the driver again.
Yeah, but I mean, it still is a lot of work. I mean, honestly, people think entrepreneurship is so easy. And it's just like, I think we spend more hours on our own projects that we do. And we're putting our own time, our money, our energy, our resources because we love it.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't understand the amount of time, money, energy, and effort that it takes. So when you say one day it will pay off, girl, it's already paying off, and it's going to just get better and better because you keep adding to that passion, which is helping other people. So the universe is going to take care of you regardless, right? So that manifestation is happening, and it's going to just get better. So I just
Working in the
can't wait to
background.
see. Yeah, it's already
already-
working. It's already working.
It's already
So,
been
but I just really want to put that out there. Like, we do what we do as podcasters, and I'm speaking for the group, because we do enjoy talking to people and sharing stories and helping to empower and inspire people through others. We're storytellers. We enjoy sharing stories and building connections, and that's what we do. But we do spend money to do this. We do spend a lot of time to do this. Outside of just interviewing and talking, there's editing. There's, you know what I'm saying, putting together, like Francis does all the editing and show notes and things like that. Like, there's so much to do in the background that people don't understand that we actually have to do.
Yes, props to you guys. I mean, that's something I don't love. I don't love the back end of podcasting. Oh my gosh. Editing. Let's just be real. I mean, you guys are probably much better at it because you have so many episodes, but for me, it can take me over 4 hours to edit an episode. That's a lot of time writing the show notes, thinking what to write, a keyword, SEO, all this stuff. Like, yeah, let's keep it real. There's so much in the back end of doing a show. So props to you guys for doing so many and putting in all the time that we don't see when we're just listening to a podcast.
Props to Francis. She handles all the back end on Chronicles.
I'm waiting for my salary. Where my stipend at?
All this manifestation is happening on the background. It's just about, we're all learning, and it's not our main source of income. And one day it will be all of our main source of income. So I am going to manifest that for all of us. Yes, because we deserve it. I you know what I mean? Like, seriously, ladies, we are some kick-ass, badass women, and we need to be proud of that and pat ourselves on the back. Yes, that's the whole point. You know what I mean? High five. And I want you listeners that are listening to this episode to do the same thing. Understand that you might not be where you want to be at this moment, but understand that it's coming. Taste it, feel it, touch it. Close your eyes and visualize it. You know what I mean? Manifest that. Like, don't sit in what you're not doing. Praise yourself for the little wins, the things that we are doing, Let's inspire and continue to empower each other and lift ourselves up. We are some badass women up in this joint.
Ooh, I agree. Thank you for that. I loved hearing that. It just got me so elevated here. And I would add too, I mean, I think that's right. If you're somewhere where you don't want to be in life, this was also what I covered in my talk at Google, was that, just start taking small actions every day that are in alignment with where you want to be. And if you don't know where that is, just just honor in the smallest way possible. It doesn't have to be anything big, in what feels right. If you have this crazy idea that you, I don't know, want to start taking pictures, but you've never, been someone that was interested in that, listen to that voice or that message that's coming to you and just explore that interest. The changes that we make in life, this transformation of who we are and where we are in life comes from taking action. And it's just the little things you do every day that compound over time. Like you said, when you started a podcast, you guys weren't podcasters, but you put in the time every day. You worked a little bit more on it and learned how to do it. And now you guys are podcasters, which is a huge audience around the world. And so it takes time to get from A to B, but it's all through the little steps every day.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think they need to have clarity first, and that's usually not how it works. Like you said, Cepee, you have to take the action, and then the clarity comes with the action, after the action. Ooh, yes. But if you're sitting there waiting for this clear picture of everything, then you're going to be waiting for a very, very long time, period.
Oh my gosh, that's the truth. Yep, that's the truth.
Well, Cepee, thank you so much. We're going to end our episode on this note, because this is the most positive note that we can end it on, and just to leave that call of action for our audience to go out there and live with their, live their true selves, right? Through passion and purpose, and be able to really just take those little steps. That's all you can do. You can start and take those little steps. She Hit Refresh is an online community at shehitrefresh.com and on Facebook at She Hit Refresh. Make sure to go over there and say hey to Cepee and the crew. You can also hit us up at chroniclesabroad.com or hit us up on our social media, Chronicles_abroad on Instagram. We always love hearing from our listeners in our DMs. But outside of that, Cepee, we can't wait to finally meet you in person.
I know.
Hopefully that will happen.
And you have a birthday coming up, right? You have a birthday coming up, but hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully
it's going to be a birthday on lockdown, but that's okay. Going to do it virtually.
Is it the big? It's the big 4-0 though, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome to the 40th club.
I can't wait. I'm super excited. So I'm going to be, in new territory. So I'm excited. I will be celebrating online, but yeah.
Wait, both of you guys turned 40 this year, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. When is your birthday, Francis?
October.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You told me. So, okay, I'm older than you. Okay, I'll tell you how it is when we get there.
How about I'm older than both y'all?
Like triple, you know what I mean? Like over the top.
It's okay, Francis. Once you hit that 4-0, guess what? It just goes up from there. It just goes up from there. Okay.
Before we let you go, Cepee, can you just let us know what's next for She Hit Refresh? What's next for you?
Yes. Well, I mean, I had some clarity on what I wanted to do next, but we'll see. We're just going to have to be open and adaptable, like you said. What I wanted to do was work on an ebook to help Americans who are interested in moving to Europe, kind of the how-tos and best places. Also working on an online course, which was kind of in conjunction with that. And we were hoping to do a retreat this fall in Spain, but that's probably going to be pushed to 2021. But we'll just see how things go. But really right now, since remote work is such a hot topic, I think I'm going to be focusing in just the near future, working on some more resources for our community for remote work.
Awesome. And I'll share a list of resources also that I put together yesterday for people to get some online learning and all that stuff. So definitely put that. I'll give that to you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for having me on. This was so great. Such a pleasure to have to talk to you again. I was just thinking in my head, like I have to have you guys on again to give us kind of the recap of what's happened since then.
That's awesome.
Thank you all.